It seems everybody saw this coming. Did Tony Abbott?
Well, look, he would have been aware of the situation, given that this is really the second party room, Liberal party room motion against Mr Abbott this year. In February, after a disastrous Queensland state election result in which a first-term Conservative government was tipped out, and after some very controversial public policy decisions, there was a backlash inside the Liberal Party room in February, and there was a spill motion put, and it was only narrowly defeated despite the fact there was no candidate running. Mr Turnbull didn't run at that point. He was given 6 months' notice, Mr Abbott, to lift his game, to lift his public approval ratings. 6 months on down the track, in fact 7 months down the track, the public opinion polls haven't improved. In fact, in some respects, they've gotten worse. This Saturday, there is a crucial by-election for our lower house in the state of Western Australia, the seat of Canning, which should be a safe Conservative seat, but up until yesterday looked as though it was about to be lost to the opposition centre-left Labor Party. The fact that they're certain to have lost some seats, and some would have set up to 30 seats in a general election, Malcolm Turnbull felt that he couldn't wait any longer, and so the forces mobilised very quickly yesterday and brought it to a head. And so Mr Abbott would have seen this coming. The thing that we didn't see coming was the speed with which this momentum would build. Most expected a challenge sometime before Christmas. We really didn't expect it as early as September.
Paul, I think Malcolm Turnbull, as soon as he spoke, first thing he really talked about was bringing back business confidence to Australia. Can he do that, in your opinion?
Look, I think he can, but clearly the Liberal parties and the coalition parties' problem, the government's problem, stem much further than even just the state of the economy. Australia's also locked in social policy debates, but more about that later. But yes, economic problems are are very stubborn in Australia. We've had an unemployment figure now that's had a 6 in front of it for a very long time. And despite record low interest rates, despite some pretty serious foreign investment, despite a fairly deregulated labour market over the past decade or so, that unemployment figure is still pretty much locked in at around 6.2, with some fears that it will go even higher. So this is the big challenge, obviously, for the new Turnbull government. It's certainly a challenge that Mr Abbott couldn't conquer. That the economy appears to be almost stagnant, not quite stagnant. We haven't had a recession. We've had positive growth, but not very much.
Paul, the thing is here, we've got a man, Malcolm Turnbull, who has been renowned to be fairly unpopular within his own party, but popular in the country at large. So was this really a vote by members of the Liberal Party there in Parliament to actually vote for him to save their own skins, ultimately?
At the end of the day, at the bottom of the page, that's precisely what it is. While Mr Turnbull did appeal to, as I said yesterday in his press conference, he did appeal that Australia needs better economic leadership to give Australia and the business community more confidence going to the future, more certainty. Well, that's true in part. At the end of the day, it's very much about preventing the opposition leader, Bill Shorten, and his Labor Party form of government. It's preventing a whole swag of backbench Liberal MPs from losing their seats, and it's really here to shore up the non-Labor view of the world, as it were, to keep things like free trade open, and this is particularly salient in Australia at the moment, given that, for the most part, free trade has been enjoyed bipartisan support in Australia for over 30 years. But for the first time, we've seen the Labor Party balk at a free trade agreement with a major trading partner, i.e. China, and this has really thrown economic debate into a bit of a tizzy. So this is clearly, Mr Turnbull, on the one hand, is talking about giving certainty to economic policy, certainty to business confidence. At the end of the day, it's very much about the coalition party surviving, because it was almost inevitable that they would have lost an election if it were held any time soon to the Labor Party. Now, the Liberals' chances of retaining government are incredibly, much more enhanced.
Paul, very quickly, just for 1 second here, can he reverse this trend, Malcolm Turnbull? 4 Prime Ministers in 5 years. Can he go the distance?
Yes, I think he can. I mean, Malcolm Turnbull's a very popular Prime Minister, popular man. We don't know how popular he's going to be as Prime Minister yet, but he has all the makings of a popular Prime Minister. And more importantly, as I said before, we're talking about social policy. he's ticking a lot of the social policy boxes that Middle Australia wants. So Malcolm Turnbull believes in same-sex marriage. He believes in man-made climate change. He believes in the Australian Republic. These are the sorts of things that Middle Australia like to talk about. So he looks like he could be the consensus Prime Minister that Australians have been looking for.